Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video.
Well, welcome back to another Friday, a very hot and humid Friday at Giga Texas with a lot of activity going on. First, as you can see right behind me, more Model Ys are being picked up and getting ready to be transported off-site. And we also see on the south end some developments with the Model Ys as well. Specifically, as you can see in this picture, the area that had the Model Ys that have been relatively static for the last several weeks looks to be cleared out, and a whole large number of new Model Ys, mostly all blacks, some of them in blue, have taken their place. So something has changed, which is a very big sign. The other thing I want to highlight here on the intro, which is a big milestone that's starting for Giga Texas, is up at the North Electrical Substation. Work has resumed. And now, as you can see in these images, work on the grid for the grounding mechanisms for that area are underway. And not only is the grid underway, so it gives us the size of the final construction, but if you can compare it, as you can see in this image here, with the temporary switch yard, it is enormous. So the capabilities here are going to be significantly more than what they have right now, which is outstanding. So a lot more to see, action-packed, a lot of information in the video, so make sure you check it out. Again, thank you very much for watching. Keep all the workers in mind as they're working in these very hot and humid conditions, and have a great weekend. Thank you again for watching.
A special thank you to all of my outstanding Patreons for your continued encouragement and support. Patreon members get access to hundreds of high-resolution photos, previews of the future material, and direct dialogue with me. If you would like to support my channel, please consider becoming a patron using this link, which is also in the video description. Please also consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. For today's flight, we start off right away at the south horizontal drilling location, and I want to show you the new area that they are starting the drilling for the smaller, about the 30-inch or about 0.75 meter diameter pipe. You can see the drill is in the process of drilling this new borehole underneath the Colorado River, and I'll fly you straight across the river and show you the basic path under the river that this bore will follow, and where this will be terminating on the south side over near this electrical power station. And as you can see, the pipe is in the process of getting ready to be welded together, fusion welded at each of the ends, and this pipe will eventually be as long as the one that's already been pulled under, and it will be installed in the new bore, which will be exiting right around this particular location, and then it will join the one that's already been pulled underneath the river. And I believe this one is for regular water versus the other one was for treated water, but I'll continue to monitor as developments warrant. Now that we're back on the north side of the Colorado River, I want to show you some developments in this particular location. First, you can see the material storage yard with the crates and other materials. Some more dirt has been installed. Also, this area here where the dirt is being excavated, I believe it does look like this is just a temporary dirt storage yard or area, and now that they're doing the excavations, they're moving it to the east side where they're doing some more grading operations, and I'll show you that a little bit later in the video. This parking lot now looks like they've removed all of those temporary trailers and are preparing to pave this entire parking lot, and I'll show you a little bit follow-up later on in the video just to show how fast they are moving on this particular project. We're going to be flying to the south on the east side of the body in white. You can see a new excavation area on the right-hand side, and that looks like it may be for some more plumbing. Also, this new cargo loading apron has continued some more of the pipe work, and hopefully we'll see concrete soon. You can also see this temporary platform, more large crates in those white wrappings, and also some blue are moving up into the second floor of the body in white. And so installation of materials and production equipment continues on that second floor. And now as we continue further to the south, a few things that I just want to point out. One, they've finished up the repainting of the wall on the southwest corner, or correction, the southeast corner of stamping, and I'll show you a close-up of that. Two, you can see that the Model Ys have sort of have an inventory change out that's underway, and I'll give you some closer views of that, but most of the ones that were parked on the parking lot area for the last few weeks have now been moved out, and new vehicles are taking their place. You can also see the material storage yard here with all the gravel, and no real major changes yet. That platform is still waiting to be moved, but it looks like there's some crews working on it. And as we approach the southeast corner again, this just shows you the paintwork that they did yesterday. They extended the white section all the way to the ground, and then they added in another white small square on the right-hand side. So I don't know, it may still be testing out color samples before they decide to paint the rest of the structure. I'm going to attempt to get low and look inside the stamping extension structure again this morning. It is a difficult location because of active traffic and the angles, but you can see a little bit of work continuing with the excavation on the right-hand side, and on this left-hand side, some just more steel components and general assembly going on in that particular location. Again, it's a very large area, so it's interesting to figure out what they're doing in there. So as you can see here, the parking area that had a lot of vehicles just sort of sitting stagnant, most of those have now been moved out. Almost all of the new vehicles are black or blue, and I think that has to do with the current upgrades or installation of additional modular paint shop devices that we've been seeing over the last few weeks. Also, this is the material and steel fabrication location, and there's some activity going on with the fabrication, but also some of the white components that you see here, the metal, it looks like stairs and some beams and columns. A viewer of mine saw my previous video where we looked inside General Assembly, and there looks to be an area towards the south where they're installing General Assembly 2 and 3 lines that this material, the white painted ones, may be going to. The rest of this still seems like it may be going inside that stamping extension location. I'll pan the drone more towards the north again. This just gives you a better look at this part of the parking apron, and you can note a lot of the older vehicles have been now moved out, and on the left hand side quite a few brand new Model Ys, again in black and blue, so that seems to be the current paint scheme at the moment. The superchargers here are now operational. When I arrived I could see the Tesla signs all lit up, and it looks like maybe a few other additional cleanup operations going on right now, but they are definitely operational, so we should see Model Ys being charged in this location as well. I'm going to continue around the building and heading towards the north. There's a few things along this side that I do want to show you, and it's very interesting, and it does relate to production as well. This trucking cargo bay, you can see the 4 right here closest to us are definitely operational, and many trucks are showing up delivering parts, supplies, and then departing. And then we can see this ramp is definitely operational. Inside that ramp area, some of the walls and materials have been moved. This black and red ramp is still waiting for installation, and the smaller one has actually been installed further to the north, and I'll show you that here in just a second. Not a lot of changes in the main entrance of the main building, and the ramp has still been removed, so no construction on that. Here, as we arrive at this cargo loading bay, you can see that smaller ramp has been installed at this particular bay. And it's kind of interesting to see why they chose to do that here, and I'll continue to monitor to see if we can determine that. But you can see other trailers are in place and delivering production supplies into General Assembly 1. This location where they have recently removed the concrete, repaired that area or reconfigured it, put new rebar in, and have now poured the concrete. There's still that area at the base of the ramp that needs some work as well. So interesting to see why they chose to do that and what the reconfiguration will be. We're at the battery cell production cargo loading area, and you can just sort of see inside a little bit from this angle those yellow dividers that kind of help direct the trucks into that location. I'm flying up onto the roof to show you a lot more solar panels have been delivered, and we saw that in my previous video, and also more work on the HVAC enclosures. They finished the third from the top, and now they're working on the fourth one. And work continues to progress here at I would call it a moderate pace, but they do at least have the supplies needed to finish those enclosures. I'm going to fly the drone a little bit farther to the south to show you some more of the solar panel installation. I had one of my viewers calculate how many of the solar panels are currently installed, and there's just shy of 19,000. Tesla has listed the total installation to be more than 70,000, which means that we're not quite at 25% completed for all of the solar panels that will be eventually installed. And the installed total capacity, based on some new calculations, again from the viewer that I mentioned, is now over 30 megawatts. So that is a pretty significant total installation once it is completed. And this view here just gives you an overall view of where that current expansion is happening in relation to the rest of the installed portion of the solar panels. Again, spelling out Tesla. And the rest of the roof will eventually have solar panels to number over 70,000, which means that they have a lot of work yet to continue. We've now reached the north part of the building at the paint shop, and I'll show you some of the activity near the loading bays. That green wrapped component is another part of the modular paint system that's being installed. Also here at the plastics platform, you can see those metal sort of structures. We saw them delivered yesterday, and it looks like they are now going into the plastic, so kind of curious what that may be. Here at the platforms for the battery cell location, there's this interesting green set of piping that has just been delivered. I'm not sure what this is. If any viewers happen to know what it is and why is it green, I would be appreciated to see what your thoughts are in the comments. So while we pull away, I'm going to just show you some of the current status of the landscaping, the grass installation, and all of the area on the north now has operational irrigation systems. On the north part of the cyber berms, the lights still have not been installed, but all of the conduit is in place. And you can also see the median here at the main road with some of the plants that have been installed. In this location, all of the grass has now been installed onto the dirt areas that we discussed at the previous video. And you can also see at this cyber berm more lights have been installed. As I get into the parking lot, I will show you this conduit and vault that has been opened up. You can see where conduit will come through, and this connects the northeast corner of the casting machine structure up to where the electrical substation construction is underway. There's an interesting delivery here to the casting machine structure. It's in a very large wooden crate. I do not believe that this is part of the new Idra Gigapress, but based on sources, sometime this month we should start seeing the larger 9,000 ton Gigapress arriving, and I will continue to watch out for that. Hopefully we'll get some good views of that soon. So as mentioned, we'll fly over the east parking lot, and I want to show you the current area of construction where crews are preparing to pave this new smaller parking lot. And it also has, as you can see, a lot of charging stations already in place. And interestingly enough, all of the light pole bases, all of the electrical conduit, everything is already installed. So the paving operation here should go pretty quickly. And now I'm going to pan back towards the north. I want to show you the new car parking and staging location and transport pickup. It looks like all of the markings are done, all of the bases for the lighting is completed, the perimeter road is also completed. So I would assume that we're going to see work here soon for new vehicles and the transportation. It should be a significant increase in the amount of Model Ys that can be picked up and transported. Now that we're flying a little bit more to the east, I want to show you a little bit closer view than I did last time of this clearing that they are doing. It looks like they are raising the grade in this general location. The dirt is coming from the dirt fill that I showed you earlier in the video, and also a new location just north of the battery cathode plant, and I will give you views of that a little bit later. But this entire section of the east side is getting regraded, and it could be either for new construction or for relocation of the trailers and the equipment here to allow the expansion of the warehouse on wheels yard with all of those trailers. And you can see there's additional earthwork going on here, fill and grade improvement. As we fly towards the warehouse on wheels location, you can see that, as we discussed previously, this clearing area has been removed with most of the equipment. More continues, and that's where the expansion for that warehouse on wheels yard will be. We've now flown over to the battery cathode plant. As you can see, a lot of progress with the roof decking and additional work going on the roof. We'll come back for a closer view, but I want to continue further to the north to show you some more developments that are occurring in this part of the overall construction site. On the lower left-hand corner, you can see where some trees have been removed and also some fill dirt. And you can see the trucks coming towards the north to pick up dirt. And what you'll see is a lot of activity here with dirt being excavated and the dirt being taken back over to that east side. This particular location has had a lot of dirt excavated in the past, and it continues to be a source for dirt to fill in other areas of the construction site. But also, this is an area where we may see some expansion, possibly at some point where material storage is placed temporarily as work continues to move away from the main factory and to other parts of the site. So I'll continue to watch this location for you. As we've approached back to the cathode plant, let's take a tour of what is going on today, starting with the northernmost part of the roof. First off, you can see just how close to the north end of the building the roof has become, and you can see the crews are rapidly installing more of the decking to finish up the roof on this particular section. You can also see this temporary staircase has been now completed, and we can also see more work on the second and third floors with that decking getting ready for rebar so we can see some concrete. We can also see now trucks are delivering components and materials to the battery cathode plant, and this truck was delivering some items that were being pulled off by a forklift. And also these white containers on the bottom of the screen, I believe, are sort of the panels that they put up onto the roof, and then they spray the lightweight concrete on top of that for insulation and to seal off the roof. These crews are installing more of the mounts for the exterior concrete walls that will be mounted very similarly to what we saw at Giga Texas itself, so the overall look should be the same as the main factory building. Progressing further to the south, more of the the third floor has been poured with concrete, and another large section of the second floor is ready for concrete with all the rebar installed. There's a lot of work going on the roof here. I want to give you some closer views. All of this, I believe, are basically 2x4 pieces of wood. They're going to section off the roof into certain areas where they'll put that styrofoam-like insulation, and then they will spray the concrete on top. So we should start seeing sections of the roof walled off or formed off with this 2x4s. And again, this is very similar to what we saw over the battery cell structure of the main building of about a year ago. Also, the expansion of the installation of the electrical conduit continues in this particular part of the structure, and it looks like quite a bit of activity to install the conduits, and also with those radius arms, it looks like those are terminations of some sort, maybe charging stations at some point. The work on the ground floor here continues, and all of the conduit and electrical and plumbing trenches have been filled in on this part of the building as well. So let's take a flight over to the most exciting development today on the site, and that is the resumption of work at the new permanent electrical substation. And what you are seeing here is trenches being installed in a grid pattern, and in these trenches will be grounding straps, and it will underlie the entire electrical substation, and it is what the crews will use to ground all of the equipment. So here are some overlays to help guide you to this area. You can see the new permanent substation location and the temporary substation location. On the left side, you can see the water detention pond, and on the right side where the Megapack construction site will be. So hopefully you found this helpful. I'm going to bring the drone in a little bit lower so you can see how this looks like in detail. And a lot of work has been completed on the trenching already, and as you can see, there's additional work just finishing up for the main site as well. On the left hand side, you can see an additional area of trenching underway, and you can also see crews already starting to line the trenches with some wire, and that's part again of that grounding grid. As the temporary station passes by on the right hand side, we can also see gravel has been delivered to this particular location next to the concrete piping, and that gravel will be used to line the entire construction site here on top of the grid once all of that has been installed. So I'm going to fly a little bit on the east side to the north just to give you another view of how the grounding grid is being constructed and how that will appear. And it's right next to this water detention pond as well, which will be a significant part of the water management system for Giga Texas and this new electrical substation location. So to end this very busy day and week, I'll give you a long view of the entire site. You can see the electrical substation site on the right, the main factory next to the east parking lot, the warehouse on wheels yard, and the battery cathode plant. And again, this is just part of the overall site, so there's a lot more that they will be constructing over the next months and years. I hope you have a great weekend, and again, thank you very much for watching.